Hello everyone, my name is Jingyu, and I'm currently a PhD student in Prof. Cho Namjoon's research group. Here, firstly, I'm going to introduce some information about myself. I studied my undergraduate in China in Beijing Institute of Technology from 2015 to 2019. And then I further studied as a master by research here in NTU from 2019 to 2021. So I have been in Prof. Cho's research group for 2 years. I still remember the first year I joined this group as a freshman and started my first project about pollen. The research fellows and other PhD students taught me a lot, like how to transform raw pollen materials to pollen gel, pollen sponge, or pollen papers. And I also learned a lot from Tom, including like data analysis, experiments design, characterization techniques, and other, most importantly, how to solve the problems in the experiments and how to detect the valuable results from failure experiments. So I was very appreciable that I can continue my PhD in this group, and also I want to thank to Prof. Cho. He's a very nice supervisor and encourage students a lot, especially during the break of COVID-19. And also he provides his greatest support to us when we're doing the experiments. And also he cared the students a lot. And he's very kind, very nice and handsome person, always share a lot of delicious Korean food and coffee to us. So, and I'm going to introduce more about my research project during the master's and PhD, and my further research project as a PhD students. My main topic is about pollen can be potential materials to replace plastic, and also have great potential for sustainable energy applications. As we all know, pollen are have very special structure with double layers. The outer layer, axine, mainly composed of spore pollen, which are one of the most robust biomaterials in the world. And the inner layer, intine, mainly are made of cellulose and other carbohydrates. The double layer structures can protect the genetic materials and cells inside the pollen, and outside the double layers, pollen are coated with lipids and other proteins, which are very sticky. So the discovery of the special structures of pollen also encouraged our previous group members to find that raw pollen materials can be further fabricated as soft pollen microgel and fabricate the pollen papers and porous structure or sponges. So the special mechanical properties of the pollen are found that it can have, especially the pollen papers, have very similar Young's modulus as polymers, as shown in these figures. So we keep thinking that pollen can be great potential to replace plastic in the future. Researchers has found that more than 8.3 billion tons of plastic has been produced since the early 1950s. Among them, about 60% of that plastic has ended up in either a landfill or the natural environment. So plastic products, especially the single-use plastic products, contaminated the environment seriously and threaten the life and health of living organisms and human body. So to reduce the usage of plastic, we are trying to find more and more candidates to replace plastic products. And so pollen papers here have shown great potential. And so a lot of researchers have detected the plastic particles released from some plastic products like mineral water bottles, infant bottles, and some other products. But it seldom, but reporters have detected the daily usage of disposable plastic food containers. And So here we detected the plastic particles released from the food containers after containing the hot food and drinking water, especially after reuse of some plastic products. We detected 4 kinds of plastic, including PET, LDPE, PP, PS, which are most commonly used during our human daily life. And large amounts of plastic particles are detected to release during the usage. So that shows plastic products has been a very serious problem to threaten our human health. And to further show that pollen papers can be candidates to replace plastic, the biodegradation of pollen papers are very important. Although we have in our group have detected the biodegradation of sporopollen axine capsules in the human plasma and also simulated gastrointestinal fluids, but without the help of enzymes and also without help of the acid hydrolysis, the biodegradation of pollen papers in phosphate buffer saline solutions are very important. And after 4 or 5 months, the biodegradation are found to start in the pollen papers. The surface of the pollen papers have a lot of freaks, and also although the degradation happened, the mechanical properties of the pollen paper are still kind of stable. So that further presented that pollen papers can be further applied as candidates to replace plastic in the future. And except for those kind of applications, pollen, I am very interested that pollen maybe can be applied as sustainable energy applications with great biocompatibility. Pollen papers are prospective to be applied as implantable electrolytes, flexible electrolytes, lab-on-chip or food packagings and others. And the porous structure of the sponge maybe can be applied as energy electrolytes, pollutant absorption, which has been improved, and or other lithium-ion batteries. So the sponge, the pollen sponge now has, although pollen sponge has been applied as oil absorption, but the mechanical properties, stability of the mechanical properties of pollen sponge in water, and also has been a very big issue so far. So we found a new method to prepare the pollen sponge, which is new phthalate-free method, and the sponge, because without using a freeze dryer, the pollen sponge can be scalable, and also we found that this kind of sponge is with very great mechanical properties. And there are a big difference between the pollen sponge in wet condition and dry condition. In wet condition, pollen sponge are elastic, very elastic, and in dry condition, pollen sponge are with great stiffness. And even the process between wet and dry, the pollen sponge is aqua-reversible. It can absorb large amounts of water after totally dry, and it can be reused for many times. So based on these properties, pollen sponges maybe have much more applications, not only as scaffolds for the cell cultures, and also add much more prospective applications and further developments that can be found, and pollen can be candidates with great potential in sustainable energy. I have tried some pre-experiments to mix the pollen gel with some conductive polymers, and it has shown that pollen can be fabricated as flexible conductive pollen papers, and also try to find more applications that pollen maybe can be, the porous structure of pollen can be applied as electrolyte separate in lithium-ion batteries in the future, which have very great potential to be applied as in sustainable energy.